Good morning, everyone. All right.
Morning, Judge.
We are here for a series of detention hearings. It is Thursday, August 6th, 2020. The Texas Supreme Court and the Office of Court Administration have directed that all courthouses close the courthouses to, except for essential hearings. And so the public generally doesn't have an opportunity to come in and watch court proceedings live. However, in keeping with the open courts provision of the Texas Constitution, these hearings are being broadcast live on YouTube. Recording or rebroadcasting these hearings in any shape, form, or fashion is expressly forbidden. Violation of the order may subject you to civil and/or criminal contempt. There is an exception to live streaming of these proceedings. For children under the age of 14, the Texas Family Code expressly provides that such hearings should be closed to the public unless the interest of the public in the specific hearing outweighs the need for privacy of the child. There having been no evidence presented to the court that the need of the public is greater than the need of the privacy of the child, at such time, if any hearings involve children under the age of 14, the court will stop the live streaming of the YouTube channel. All right. Mr. Adler, we're here on Brianna Carrera. Are you Miss Carrera?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Carrera, my name is Judge Porter. This is a detention hearing to determine whether you should remain in detention or be released to a parent or guardian. You have the right to remain silent and not say anything at all. If there's something you want to say, please do not shout it out. Instead, I want you to move your hand back and forth like this. That'll get my attention. It'll also get the attention of Mr. Adler, your attorney. I'll create a private internet chat room for you and Mr. Adler to talk about what you want to say, and that way he can advise you on whether or not you should say it. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Cook, what brings Ms. Carrera to court today?
Your Honor, this is slightly a different situation in that, if you remember correctly, last Wednesday, I believe, July 29th, you were notified by administration that Brianna's house had been shot at 3 days in a row. And so for her safety, you issued a directive to apprehend. She was brought into detention on that. And even though Brianna has been on and off probation for the last 3 years, she has never tested positive. She tested positive last week for opiates. And so Judge Kim ordered that a hair follicle test be done. And that was done on Tuesday. And so Mr. Adler requested this hearing. But since then, we've had a couple other things happen that I need to bring to your attention. So Arlington PD, an investigation of this, they, with the dad's permission, they did a search and they found various ammunition inside the home and outside the home, as well as a sawed-off shotgun. They don't have any evidence as to who shot that, but they believe that possibly someone shot back from inside the home when it happened. Also, I've been contacted by Detective Allen, who's the current detective working this case, and she is very familiar with Brianna as she's typically the one who's been her arresting officer. She wanted me to know that she's seen a change in Brianna and they've actually stopped doing surveillance on her home because of how well she's been doing. But we were also notified yesterday that she got a ticket from, also Detective Allen was the officer at the time, for intentionally encouraging a fight at a park. And she has that case with the Arlington Municipal Court. The date of that fight is April 30th. Brianna does have various tickets with the city of Arlington that she's been paying off, and her next payment's not due till September. She is still on probation technically because she had 2 cases, one from last September, which was a criminal trespass, and then one from this January, which was an assault. And those are both still pending with the DA. She's set for court for that on September 16th with Judge Kim. At the request of ADA Kleinwachter, Judge Kim did order a placement search back in February, and she has been accepted at Granbury. But also, with the placement search, I did a resource staffing, and the recommendation of the resource staffing was that she be allowed to remain in the community, engage in the trauma counseling, and participate in the programs that her mentor at school has set up for her. Since being before the court in January, she's done very well. She's got a job at Champs. She continues her boxing every day. She's still participating with Golden Globes, has a fight coming up this fall. She's engaged in her trauma counseling every week. And then her mother's plan for safety for this situation specifically is to move them to Waxahachie. She's already purchased land and is waiting to get a trailer home that she's going to put on that. And in the meantime, her plan is to live with a friend in Waxahachie. So,
Mr. Adler.
Yes, Your Honor. I requested this hearing. Brianna really has been doing well since January. I don't know what happened in April. The detective and I are texting, and the detective wanted you to know that she is cooperating with the detective, Judge. Judge, Brianna, she's about to lose her job. And I would ask that she be released to her mom. She's really been doing well today because she has to go back to work tomorrow. But I would ask that you release her on the condition that she don't go back to the house where they live. Having said that, I think she's done really, really well. Yeah, she has a history with our court, but she's made a tremendous comeback. Everybody that texts me, whether it's her mentor, her teachers, her high school principal, her high school counselor, saying they've seen a tremendous change in her. So I would ask at this point to give her another chance. The only reason we brought her back was for her safety. And if we can make
Correct.
sure that she's not going to go back to that house, I would ask that you release her to her mom today, who is here present and can tell you her plan if you need to hear it from the parent.
No. What I wanted to hear is that there is a safety plan for her. Does she have stable transportation to get to and from her job?
She does, Your Honor.
Okay. And is there any concern for her safety in traveling back and forth between the new home and the job?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Because at bottom, I want her to be safe. So, Mom, are you okay with me releasing her?
Can I translate for her, Judge? Señora Méndez, el juez te está preguntando si estás bien.
Sí,
Pues la deja ir con usted hoy.
sí, estoy bien.
Dilo, baja la máscara, por favor, un poquito.
Sí, estoy bien.
She said yes, that would be good.
Yeah. All right. Then I am, Ms. Cook, because this is going to be out of county, are we going to be okay without the EEM?
Brianna's been on the monitor multiple times. She's been successful every single time.
Yeah.
We can put her on the monitor, but we wouldn't be able to issue a directive in the event something happened if they are out of county.
The only advantage I see to the EEM in this situation is if something bad happens to Brianna, we're able to find out where she is. But that's the only advantage I see, as it's another safety net for her. It's not a, yes, ma'am. Yes, miss. Yes.
There's any possibility that I would be able to leave without it? I just wouldn't want to show up to work with a monitor on my leg.
Okay. And I understand that. The only reason I was considering the electronic monitor is if something bad happens, some of the bad people who've been trying to shoot up your house, kidnap you or whatever, we would be able to find you. And that's the only, I was only considering it for your safety. All right. I'm not worried about you as far as running away or anything like that, because you've been real good the last 6 months. All right. I'll go ahead and release her. Brianna, you cannot go back to your Tarrant County house, okay?
Yes, sir.
Have a relative or somebody go by, pack you up everything you need, but you get somewhere safe, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Adler.
Thank you, Judge.
Gracias, mamá.
It's the right.
Okay. Are you Ruben Dominguez?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. My name is Judge Porter. This is a detention hearing to determine if you should remain in detention or be released to a parent or guardian. You have the right to remain silent and not say anything at all. If there is something you want to say, please do not shout it out. Instead, I want you to move your hand back and forth like this. That'll get my attention. It'll also get Mr. Hampton's attention. I'll create a private internet chat room for you and Mr. Hampton to talk about what you want to say. That way he can advise you on whether or not you really should say it. Does that make sense?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Anything you say at this hearing cannot be used against you at an adjudication or disposition hearing, but it can be used against you at a future detention hearing. With that being said, Ms. Thomas, what brings Mr. Dominguez to court today?
Okay, Your Honor. On August 2nd, Benbrook PD initiated a traffic stop of the vehicle that Ruben was driving for an improper stop position. As the officer was speaking with Ruben, he noticed the smell of marijuana coming from the vehicle. When officers searched Ruben, they found $2,750 in cash, which he stated he earned by cutting grass. When the vehicle was searched, a black digital scale was located between the front console and the passenger seat. Ruben was asked if he had anything illegal on his person. He answered yes. He had marijuana and gave it to the officers. The substance was tested and
Uh-oh, Ms. Thomas.
yes.
There we go. The
Sorry.
substance was tested and what?
It yielded a positive result for THC. Okay, and when officers ran his name, they learned that he did have a DTA that was issued by this department and that he'd been called in as a runaway. On April 15th, Your Honor, Ruben left his mother's home after an argument between the two and never returned. A DTA was issued actually by you on June 4th. And he is currently on probation for unlawful carrying of a weapon and discharge of a firearm in certain municipalities. And that probation term started on September 17th of 2019.
And it expires when?
It expires in September. He was placed on a 1-year probation term.
All right. He is level 1-0 in the back?
Yeah.
And when he was tested, he tested positive for marijuana and anything else?
Cocaine.
Oops. Okay. Does he have a parent or guardian here today?
Yes, he has, his mother is here as well as his father.
All right. Mr. Hampton, what are your thoughts? Uh-oh, is Mr. Hampton not here?
And it should be, I think his, Courtney, someone by the name of Courtney was supposed to cover the hearing for him this morning.
I'm here. Hi.
Okay.
Sorry. I had to end
Ms.
the
Miller. All right, Ms. Miller, what are your thoughts?
Well, Mr. Dominguez was transparent and honest with the officers when pulled over. He does have a place to stay. I think it's recommended in the hearing report that he stay with his father, if I understood that correctly, since there might be issues with his mother. And we would ask that he be released and allowed to stay with his father.
Okay. Ms. Farmer, are you here?
Judge, it's Andy.
Oh, Ms. Smith, what are your thoughts?
Your Honor, we would ask that he be detained as he's on probation, and then he is not compliant with the terms of probation. He is run away from home, was caught with marijuana. For those reasons, we would ask that he be detained.
Where is the mom and dad? Oh, okay, Ms. Salazar,
Yes,
what are your thoughts?
even though it hurts me, I would want him to be detained because I want better for him. And he's not learning nothing out here. He ran away from me because he didn't want to listen. And I mean, maybe, if he goes with his dad, I don't know if he'll have a different mindset. You know, I don't know what will happen, but for me personally, I know he's going to be mad at me, but I would rather him be in there than come home right now and leave from his dad and be out in the street again. And, you know, he had us blocked. I paid his phone. He has a phone so I can keep in contact with him. You know, if anything happens, he could contact me. But he has me, his dad, and his probation officer blocked, you know, and it hurts. It hurts seeing my kid out in the street thinking that he don't have a home when he does have a home. He has me and his dad to either go to, and he didn't choose to do that. He's been out in the street since April.
Mr. Dominguez, what are your thoughts?
Well, I just want to give the opportunity. We have joint custody. We have all his life. We had a joint custody. So I'm always been in his life, but he never lived actually with me. Just temporary times. Right now, since the last situation he got in trouble with, I was hoping for him to come home with me. so we can try to go a different route. Try to give him the help that he needs. Mom is trying to help out too, but being a young man, I think he needs the male figure. And mom, even though she tries to do the best job possible, as a female, I think it's a little bit more hard to deal with him as a young male. Last time I asked if he could be released to me, but they didn't. So this time I hired an attorney with the hopes that he can get that opportunity as well as me, so he can come to my house and try to do things different, so he can get out of his trouble.
Do you have do either of you have any idea where he was since April?
He's been with friends here and there.
It's scary when 16-year-olds can figure out how to be out on their own for April, May, June, July, 4 months, and not willing to call their mom, call their dad, or anything. Dad, do you understand that if I release him to you, you're responsible for making sure that he gets back to court when he's supposed to be?
Yes, Your Honor.
If he doesn't come back to court when he's supposed to come back to court, two bad things happen. The first is I can issue a warrant, or what we call a directive to apprehend, for Ruben that will result in him coming back to Kimbo. That's the first bad thing. The second bad thing concerns you. If he doesn't come back to court when he's supposed to, I could issue a warrant for you that results in you being taken to the Tarrant County Jail. Now, knowing that Ruben has already figured out how to be on his own, live with friends for 4 months without contacting y'all, that he's blocked y'all from his phone, and he's run away from his mom's house a number of times, and that if he doesn't come back to court, if he runs away from your house and he doesn't come back to court, that you could be going to jail. Are you really willing to take a chance on him?
Yes,
Given
sir.
his history?
Yes, sir. He's my child.
Knowing that you could go to jail too.
He needs the opportunity, sir. I never had that opportunity to bring him home with me full time, not even legally. Not a single time, sir.
Mom, do you think that Ruben will mind Mr. Dominguez and follow his rules at home?
In my opinion, no, but I don't know. You know,
Are you willing? Are you willing to give Ruben the chance to? Because I'm inclined to agree with you, Mom. But are you willing to give Ruben the chance to prove you and me wrong?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Ruben, you've heard your mom. And I agree with your mom. We don't think you're going to follow your dad's rules. We think you're just going to go to his house and then do whatever you want. However, Mom and I are willing to give you a chance to prove us wrong. And you've achieved level 1.0 in the back. I expect you to maintain level 1.0 at home for your dad. If you don't follow your dad's rules, you run away from his house without permission, what do you think's going to happen?
I come back to Kimbo.
And what are your chances of getting out next time?
0.
Slim and none, and Slim will have left the building. All right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I'm going to give you a chance. Dad, I am going to release him on the electronic monitor. So that'll give you another extra layer of help in ensuring that he obeys your rules. He is not to leave the house except for school, religious, or family functions. Okay? And y'all need to work with the probation officer in advance of letting the probation officer know when those things are going to happen. All right? Anything else?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Since he is going to be on the monitor and be able to go to his dad's, will I be able to visit or have you know,
I will let the two of y'all, because there's a divorce decree in place that governs that. I will let y'all work that out within the parameters of the divorce decree. Okay? Will you do that for me, Mr. Dominguez?
Yes, sir, sure, Your Honor.
All right. You heard Ms. Salazar. Ms. Salazar, you heard Mr. Dominguez's promise. All right. Y'all make that work. Y'all been really good at trying to co-parent, so I appreciate that. All right. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. Is that your last hearing?
Yes, it is.
All right. You may be excused if you wish.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Elms.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Elms, my name is Judge Porter. This is a detention hearing to determine if you should be released to a parent or guardian. You have the right to remain silent and not say anything at all. If there's something you want to say, please do not shout it out. Instead, I want you to move your hand back and forth like this. That'll get my attention. That'll also get the attention of your attorney, Ms. Taylor. Do you see Ms. Taylor on the screen?
Yes.
All
Yes.
right. I'll create a private internet chat room for you and Ms. Taylor to talk about what you want to say. That way she can advise you on whether or not you really should say it. Ms. Taylor is your attorney for purposes of this hearing. All right. Mr. Dotson, what brings Mr. Elms to court today?
Good morning, Your Honor. On July 22nd, 2020, Denham was referred in custody by the Fort Worth Police Department for the offense of aggravated robbery. According to a police report, officer was dispatched to a reference of aggravated robbery call. They spoke to the victim. He indicated he had agreed to meet with Denham at the Family Dollar to purchase marijuana from him. They met. He said then Denham got in his car. They drove to a park. At that time, he brandished a firearm, told him to get out of the car. The victim refused. Then he said Denham hit him in the head 4 times with the handle of the firearm and kicked him out of the vehicle. He said Denham exited with the vehicle and drove off. The victim provided the officers with his Denham's name and address. They got to the house. Denham was at home. Officer indicated he had footage of him getting to the victim's car. He showed the officers that he had the key fob and provided to the officers, and he was taken into custody. He has a case pending of UUMV set for adjudication on the September 11th, 8:30 before you, Your Honor. And in that case, in May 19, 2020, also dispatched a stolen vehicle report. The 2 victims indicated that their car was stolen. Later the next day, they said they located their car. There were 3 black males in the car. When the officer approached the vehicle, Denham was sitting in the driver's seat, and he had carried custody control of the vehicle, and therefore they brought him into custody for unauthorized use of motor vehicle. He has a criminal history. In December of 2018, he's picked up aggravated robbery, possession of marijuana, and criminal mischief. The criminal mischief, possession of marijuana was waived. He was placed on probation for robbery. On March 18, 2019, he completed it. March 25, 2020, successfully. He had an evading of detention arrest in May of 2018 with supervised caution. He is on level 1. He's been on level 1 actually since July 26. He had 1 day, April 1st, where he lost 6 points. That dropped him to 1A, but he picked it back up to 1 outstanding on the 2nd. And then when he came in, he did test positive for marijuana.
Okay. Does he have a parent or guardian here today?
Yes, his mom's here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Mom, a couple of things scare me. He was on probation for robbery or aggravated robbery, got off of that in May of this year, and then less than 2 months later picked up a new aggravated robbery, and then a couple of days after finishing his probation, picked up a UUMV. That scares me. So tell me what's going on. Convince me I don't need to be scared, Mom.
Can I say?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Okay. Yeah, no, well, with the what is it called? UNV or what is?
Oh, yeah, the unauthorized use.
Okay, with that right there, he did not do that.
All right, let's don't talk about the underlying charge. Let's don't talk about the underlying charge.
Okay.
Because there are a couple of factors I have to consider on whether or not I should release him. And one of those is whether he's going to be a danger to the community or not.
Well, I know that I can keep him at home. We did good with the probation last time. The monitor on him, I had no problems with him or anything. I don't know what happened this time, what made him go and do, this incident or whatever. But like I said, he was on the right track. Denham had a job. He just recently lost his job to COVID-19. But he was on the right track. He was doing good in school and everything. So like I said, I had him on the right track. I don't know if he just had too much time on his hand or what. But like I said, I can keep him at home.
Where'd you get the marijuana?
I have no idea. I have no idea. Like I said, I took a nap that day and woke up to this, to the people, cops at my door.
Where'd you get the firearm?
I don't know that either. I was in shock of all of that.
Because the allegations from the police show planning plus firearm plus drugs. And so this probably didn't occur in the short span of your nap. If it's true, it took a little bit more planning than just the time it took you for you to fall asleep. What I'm saying is he could have been doing this behind your back.
Yeah, well, it was behind my back because I knew nothing about. I was asleep. I knew nothing about this, so I would have said, "No, son, don't go out and do something stupid."
Okay, Miss Taylor, help me out.
Ma'am, I guess what the judge is asking is how can, if Denham is released, we've got an ankle monitor, certainly, and we've talked about that, correct?
Yeah.
How are you going to assure the court that the public is going to be protected?
I'm there, I'm at home, like I'm supposed to have a surgery, so I'm at home. I'm not working right now. I'm at home to watch him 24/7.
I'm sorry. Do you feel between an ankle monitor and your constant supervision that you can keep him at home?
Yes, yes.
This last time, was he having friends over? Is that the issue?
Yes, he had a friend, some guy named Anthony. That's how he ended up with this issue with the car.
Well, I mean, would you be willing to cut off all contact with the outside world?
Yeah, he can sit at home with me and watch TV with me 24/7.
Okay, does he have access to internet or iPhone or anything like that?
Well, he had a phone, but the police took that with them.
Okay, and you're not going to get him another one?
No.
You going to let him use yours to contact his friends?
No contact with anyone.
Okay. We have court on September the 11th, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you be able to bring him back for any ordered court date?
Anything, yes, ma'am.
You've had communication with him pretty much every day since he's been in detention these last 2 weeks, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you noticed a change in his attitude?
Yes, he's telling me the things he's thinking about doing to better himself and not get into this situation again. He's been, focusing on his future instead of just, I guess, stupid thoughts.
Okay, and he has been focusing on doing well with his behavior back in the detention facility.
Yes.
Do you have any reason to believe that he won't be level 1 at home as well?
No. No, he's not even like that at home. He's not with me. He's not a disrespectful child or anything like that. He helps me. So he's nothing like that.
And you need help at this point in your life. Is that correct?
Oh, well, I'm going through a surgery, so yes.
Okay.
Let me follow up with that question. I'm sorry, Ms. Taylor. Don't tell me what the surgery's for, but when is it?
It's going to be rescheduled. It was April 15th, but because of the virus, they said that I can't have it for, they'll let me know whenever.
So October, best date possible?
Yes, it'll be a while because I just went to the doctor yesterday and she told me it'll be a while.
All right, thank you. Ms. Taylor, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no, a moment ago, my client was waving his hand. And so I didn't know if he wanted you to put us in a breakout room or not.
Give me just. I apologize. I had someone that I needed to talk to. All right. Ms. Taylor, please continue.
Denham, do you need a private room and a few moments to discuss something with me, or have we resolved it? You were raising your hand while your mom was talking to the judge.
I was about to say about my plans that I had after Kimbo whenever I was to get released. I was going to mention that with you to see if I was able to speak on that here.
Yes, don't talk about your case, but if anything you can do to assure the court that you're going to show up for court when you're supposed to, and that the public is not in danger by you being released, speak freely to the judge on that issue only.
Now?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'll never put myself in a position like this because as I've grown up, well, not grown up, but being in here, it showed me that when I'm in here, I can't be with my family and I can't be with my niece. I just had a niece about a month until now. And I got a nephew, and a few years ago, I was in here for the same thing, and I missed out on a lot of his life. And it showed me that I don't want to be in here. I don't want to miss out on my niece's life and be the same way. And I want to make sure that my nephew and my little brothers don't come up and be like me, don't be in the same position that I'm in now. And I want to try and at least do right. I want to focus on education. I thought about what I wanted to do. I want to go to barber college. I want to try and be a barber. I want to go to some kind of college. I don't know if I'm going to make it to TCU. That's where I want to go. But I'll try and go to TCC or something. And I want to get another job. And, just try and get my life on the right track.
Right. Your history concerns me, and it just flat out scares me. A few days after you finish probation, Mr. Dotson had all these glowing things to say about you, and then not even 7 days later, not even a week, it's another UMB, and then a month and a half, 2 months later, there's an incident involving a firearm, and you come in and test positive for drugs. If mom's correct, you took advantage, allegedly, while your mom was sleeping. And that just flat out scares me. And I'm glad that you've had a road to Damascus moment. I'm going to take a chance that it's sincere. I am going to release you. I know the state's going to jump up and down and scream at me that they don't want me to release you, but you've been level 1 since you can get there in the back, and level 1-0 except for one minor blip. I'm going to take a chance that, no, you don't want to say anything. Trust me, there's nothing you can say right now that will help you. I'm going to take a chance. You need to maintain level 1-0 at home for mom. Mom, here's how I'm going to help you make sure he maintains level 1-0 at home.
Okay.
He's not to leave the house except for school or religious activities. He's going to be released on an electronic monitor. And as a condition of your release, you are forbidden from getting on any form of social media. None whatsoever. The only exception to that is if it is for a school activity and you're doing online school and your mom is sitting there right next to you while you're doing it. That's the only exception. Otherwise, no Twitter, no Snapchat, no Facebook, no nothing until your next court hearing. And then the judge, if it's me, lifts that restriction, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. That'll be the order of the court.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I be excused?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Taylor.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, is Mr. Graham here?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm here.
Oh, there you are. You were on my second page. Okay. Are you Mr. Gage? Uh-oh. Let's get you unmuted.
Yes, I am.
All right. Mr. Gage, this is a detention hearing to determine if you should remain in custody or be released to a parent or guardian. You have the right to remain silent and not say anything at all. If there's something you want to say, please do not shout it out. Instead, I want you to move your hand back and forth like this. That'll get my attention. That'll also get Mr. Graham's attention. Mr. Graham is your attorney. Do you see him?
Yes, I do.
All right. I'll create a private internet chat room for you and Mr. Graham to talk about what you want to say. That way he can advise you on whether or not you really should say it. Does that make sense?
Yes, I do.
All right. Is Mr. Miller? I thought I saw Mr. Miller earlier.
Yes, you're on.
All right. What brings Mr. Gage to court today?
Your Honor, on 6/24/20 at approximately 2:06, USPD was dispatched to 501 Sycamore Lane in reference to a stolen vehicle report. Upon arrival, officers made contact with the alleged victim. Victim reported that he had stopped at his mailbox and got out with the vehicle running. He stated that he had the key fob in his pocket and that he had visual sight of the rear end of his vehicle. He said he observed his vehicle rolling backwards and thought that he forgot to put it in park. When he ran around the corner, he observed an unidentified black male, late teens, early 20s, with high unkempt hair behind the wheel. The victim attempted to enter through the passenger side door, but was unable to do so. The officers put out a stolen vehicle call for a 2018 Mitsubishi Outlander SUV. The victim stated that the male looked similar to a person that came to his apartment on 6/20 and stated that there was a $2 charge for delivery of a package. The victim said he paid this, but felt later on that it was a scam. The victim stated that he left his iPhone in the vehicle, and the officers had him bring up Find My Phone on his laptop. The vehicle appeared to be stationary and was located at 1130 Bear Creek Parkway. Officers were dispatched to the location. They observed what appeared to be fresh damage to the right front quarter panel, right front tire. They observed paint transfer, but could not locate any vehicles that appeared to be struck. Crime scene was called out. The vehicle was photographed and printed. The no prints were located. The only thing that was missing from the vehicle was a Chipotle burrito valued at $5. The victim stated that his vehicle is valued at $25,000. The officers returned back to the apartment complex and asked the office manager there if there had been any complaints from residents about a young black male scamming people. The officer manager stated that another resident complained about someone coming around and trying to get people to pay him to take it out. Another resident said that his vehicle had been rifled through, but he did not file a report as nothing was missing. The officers felt the description was similar to a juvenile that had been committing several similar offenses in the area. The officer reported that Quindaric Gage lives in the area where several of the offenses occurred. On July 30th of this year, Euless PD detective felt that Quindaric matched the description given by the victim and provided the victim with a photo lineup. The victim pointed out Quindaric Gage in position number 4. Based on the totality of the evidence gathered, the detective believed it was possible or probable that he committed this offense. On August 5th, Euless detectives contacted Mr. Gage at his residence, and he was transported to juvenile detention without incident and charged with theft of property, $2,500, less than $30,000.
All right. Did he receive a drug test yesterday?
Yes, he did, Your Honor.
What were the results?
Said he was positive for marijuana.
Oh, happy weed. And was this his first ever positive UA?
No, Your Honor.
Oh, he's had another positive UA in the past?
He did back when he was brought in June 25th.
Okay, and that was following his arrest for evading arrest or detention, possible alleged credit card or debit card abuse, and another burglary of a vehicle?
Correct, Your Honor. It appears that all of this occurred within the same time frame. That's why we didn't file a VOCO, as this occurred before he was placed on probation.
And that previous June 25th positive UA, that was not just for happy weed, that was for something else, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
What else?
For benzodiazepines.
Oh, Mr. Gage, this does not look good for you. All right, State, what are your thoughts?
Your Honor, the state realizes that this did happen back in June. He has been placed on probation. So what is concerning is the positive drug test. It's clear that he is not taking the court order probation seriously at all. So for that reason, we would ask that he be detained.
Okay. Mr. Graham.
Judge, I didn't even realize he was in until earlier this morning when I got an email, and I didn't have a report. All I can say is, yeah, all the conduct that was just described, that's essentially the conduct he was placed on probation for, and this occurred prior to probation. So it seems to me the only real issue for the court to address today is the marijuana issue, and we would still ask that he be released. I can't remember, since I didn't have a chance to look, if there was a substance abuse assessment. Mr. Miller, do you know whether there was done?
He was recently released on EM from court, and part of the order was that he complete a substance abuse assessment and become involved with the FIT program. Neither one of those programs has had a chance to engage with him yet, and that's why we were asking for him to be re-released on EM so that he can get these services started as part of his current probation.
All right. Mr. Miller, I appreciate your requests, but he's on probation and comes in test positive. So, Mr. Gage, actions have consequences, and that's how we learn and grow as an adult. If I were just to release you today, that would send the message to you that you can be placed on probation, smoke marijuana, and not have any real consequences. That's the bad message to send, and that's not the message I'm going to send. Instead, what I'm going to do is offer you an opportunity to earn your way out of Kimbo. Get to level 1-0. See, Mr. Gage, you are 14. All right, get to level 1-0. Maintain level 1-0, 3 days solid, and then I will authorize your release on the electronic monitor. Okay?
All right.
All right, that'll be the order of the court.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Graham. Okay. All right. Are you Ms. Hall?
Yeah.
All right. Is that a yes, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Hall, my name is Judge Porter. This is a detention hearing to determine if you should remain here in our facility or be released to officials from Ohio. All right. The court has appointed an attorney to represent you. That attorney is Mr. Graham. Do you see Mr. Graham on the screen? Let's see. Mr. Graham, can you say something? Uh-oh. Looks like we've lost Mr. Graham.
Your Honor, I'm here as the attorney of the day if you need me.
Yes, sir, we do. Oh, I apologize. Yes. So if you will, thank you, Mr. Daniels. Okay. All right, Ms. Turner-Hill, could you bring us up to speed, please?
Yes, sir. Caitlin Hall was referred in custody by the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport Police Department for an out-of-state runaway. According to the report, officers responded to a wellness check. When they made the scene, they met with Caitlin, Kyra Gross, who's 19 years old, and Bilal Shalash, who's a 29-year-old male. Kyra was ill and she was being wheeled by Bilal. All parties reported they were headed to Las Vegas with friends. Caitlin informed officers she only knew Gross and Shalash for about 2 weeks. They asked her for ID, and while she was searching in Gross' purse, she pulled out, it was about $10,000 in cash. Gross reported that she had saved up the money for the trip to Vegas. Officers began to get suspicious about the amount of cash and the relationships between the parties. The report also mentions that the male that was with them became defensive when he was being questioned by the police. Both Hall and Gross were detained, or they both denied that they were being trafficked when asked by the officer. Officers contacted Caitlin's father, and he stated that he did not know why Caitlin was in Texas. He had given Caitlin permission to stay with a friend who stays in Ohio. Mr. Hall denied knowing the people that Caitlin was with at the airport, and he stated he was concerned for his daughter and he would contact the local police department to file a runaway report. All three were released to catch a later flight. And before they were able to depart, the officers got notice that the father had filed the runaway report. Caitlin, she has no history with our department. Mr. Hall, he's present via Zoom from Ohio, Your Honor. He said that Caitlin and her brother, they did get into an argument on July the 22nd, and he had given Caitlin permission to stay with a friend named Naomi. Caitlin had left Naomi's house, according to Mr. Hall, without his permission. Caitlin says that her dad knew that she was leaving and she was going to go stay with a group of people to start working. And she left Ohio without his knowledge. Caitlin said she's willing to go back to Ohio, but she is not willing to return to her father's house. And she is pending results of a COVID-19 test, Your Honor.
All right. Caitlin, do you understand that you have the right to voluntarily return to Ohio, or you may contest your transfer back to the state of Ohio, in which case we'll set up a series of legal processes, and including having our office down in Austin contact the appropriate authorities in Ohio to gather the necessary paperwork. That will take approximately 2 weeks. During that time, you would remain here in detention, or you can voluntarily decide to return to Ohio. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What do you want to do?
Go back to Ohio, sir.
All right. So you're waiving any further proceedings and you're agreeing to return to Ohio voluntarily, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. Then is Mr. Hall on the line?
Yes, sir.
There you are. I see you now. Okay. Do you also agree to having Ms. Hall return voluntarily to the state of Ohio?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Daniels, is there anything else that I need to consider?
No, I don't believe there is, Your Honor.
All right. Then, okay. Ms. Turner-Hill, do you need anything from me to make this possible?
We'll just need the Form 3 hearing. I need Caitlin's signature and also your signature, and I'll figure out how to facilitate that.
Thank you so much. All right, that'll be the order of the court. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Good luck, Ms. Hall. Okay. All right. Are you Mr. Jackson?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Jackson, my name is Judge Porter. This is a detention hearing to determine if you should remain back in detention or be released to a parent or guardian. You have the right to remain silent and not say anything at all. If there's something you want to say, please do not shout it out. Instead, I want you to move your hand back and forth like this. That'll get my attention. That'll also get your attorney's attention. Mr. Willett, do you see Mr. Willett on the screen?
Judge, it's Frank. I'm covering for Willett today. Sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Mr. Jackson, attorney Frank Adler is filling in for Mr. Willett today, and Mr. Adler will be your attorney. Do you see Mr. Adler on the screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. So if there's something you want to say, move your hand back and forth like this. That'll get my attention. I'll create a private internet chat room for you and Mr. Adler to talk about what you want to say. That way he can advise you on whether or not you really should say it. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. Right. Ms. Cruz.
Me today, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. Well, what brings Mr. Jackson to court?
Your Honor, on 7/8, Leroy was referred in custody by the Euless Police Department on a charge of robbery. According to that report, on 7/6/2020, officers were dispatched to a robbery at 205 Arnett Drive. The victim was contacted and advised that she and two of her friends were hanging out in the parking lot at 306 Vine Street, along with another female that was unknown to her. Three males came up. One of them was identified as Leroy Jackson, another male named Chris, who is reportedly the boyfriend of one of those females, and then an unidentified male. The two other males grabbed the victim's backpack and tried to take it off of her back while Leroy took her phone. The suspects pulled the backpack with enough force to rip one of the straps, but were unable to actually take the backpack. She did sustain abrasions to her elbows. All the boys fled on foot. The victim was walking with the officers, and a witness advised that one of the suspects had gone into an apartment. The officers made contact at that apartment with Leroy and his mother, Sarah Jackson. Leroy was asked what he'd been doing prior to the officers talking to him. He claimed that he was in the area, saw the group of people, those girls, walked up, said hello, and was hanging out with them even though he didn't know them. He said that when he walked up, they all scattered. The officer advised Ms. Jackson at the time that a victim and the witness identified Leroy as being involved in the robbery. He did deny possession of the cell phone. However, the victim did a positive ID on Leroy. She is familiar with him from school. He is currently on probation since March 20th of this year for an assault family assault bodily injury family member. And then on May 14th, he had a new adjudication for robbery and unauthorized use of a vehicle. He was positive for marijuana upon his detention on 7/9. Judge Kim at that time ordered a placement search from his original detention hearing. The plan is still being developed, and court is set at this point for 8/24. And his mother is on, she's identified as Sarah Jackson.
Give me just a minute. Ms. Jackson, do you wish to, there we go. Ms. Jackson.
Yes, sir.
What's going on? What's going on with Mr. Jackson's behavior?
Me personally, I don't know. It's a lot of things that's going on with his behavior. He has, not to get into everything, he has daddy issues, and also the area that we live in, and he has bad choice in friends.
And is it that bad choice in friends that encourages him to make bad choices elsewhere in his life? Uh-oh, mom got muted. There we go. Okay.
Okay. Yes, because Leroy is the type of person, Leroy is a very friendly person, so he thinks everybody is his friend. It doesn't matter if they do him wrong or they show him that they really ain't his friend, Leroy still believes that they his friend.
Mr. Adler.
Yes, sure. Can I ask the mom some questions, Judge, please?
Please.
Ms. Jackson, so today, do you want your son to go home to you?
Yes.
And what type of supervision can you tell Judge Porter you'll provide if he does release him?
I only work a few hours a week, like 2-3 hours, and plus I have my oldest daughter, she's here. So when I'm not here, she'll be able to keep an eye on Leroy.
So if Judge releases him to your house on the electronic monitor, there'll basically be an adult supervision the entire time?
Yes.
And if it's under strict house arrest, will you call Miss Judd if he violates his electronic monitor?
Yes. I haven't had a problem with Miss Cruz. I will call her if I felt he was doing something wrong. I would call her and let her know.
No further questions, Judge. Ask that he be released to his mom on the EM.
Ms. Judd, what is he just level 1-0 and as of this morning or yesterday?
Yes, Your Honor. He was originally on 1-0 on July 13th, and then he had until the 25th. He had some negative peer interactions, multiple infractions such as being over playful, talking, not following directions, and was dropped to level 2. On July 30th, he was actually on 3 unacceptable for a major infraction. Staff said he was passing social media information. Since July 30th, he's worked his way back up to 1 outstanding as of yesterday.
All right, Mr. Jackson.
Yes, sir.
The behavior that is alleged by the police most recently, plus your behavior for which you're on probation, is really scary. It scares me a whole bunch. And I am not, hold on. I'm not yet convinced, especially since you went to level 3 just a few days ago. I'm not convinced that if I were to let you go, you could maintain level 1-0 at home. Here's what I need you to do. You got to level 1-0 yesterday. I need you to get to that and maintain that, okay, until your next detention hearing. And then that will give me a good reason to believe that if you can maintain level 1-0 for that long, then you're likely to obey your mom's rules and listen to her at home. But I don't believe that yet. And I believe that if I were to release you today, you'd be a danger to the community. So I have to order that you be detained today. But get to maintain level 1-0 until your next detention hearing. And then that gives me a good reason to believe that you will behave at home, okay? All right, that'll be the order of the court.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Are you Mr. Jones?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jones, my name is Judge Porter. This is a detention hearing to determine if you should remain in detention or be released to a parent or guardian. You have the right to remain silent and not say anything at all. If there's something you want to say, please do not shout it out. Instead, move your hand back and forth like this. That'll get my attention. That'll also get your attorney's attention. Mr. Adeniji.
Yes, Judge.
I'll create a private internet chat room for the two of y'all to talk about what you want to say, and that way he can advise you on whether or not you really should say it. Now, forgive me, Mr. Neva, but you're in here because of allegations of murder from Arlington PD. Judge Kim has gone over that with you before. The state is seeking a determinate sentence. You have prior supervisory caution for interfering with the duties of a public servant. However, you are level 1-0. Ms. Smith, what says the state?
Your Honor, the state would ask that he be detained as he is a clear danger to the community.
Mr. Adeniji.
I would say if the court will release him on electronic monitor.
Anything else from either side?
Nothing else.
All right. I think y'all know where I'm headed. This is way too scary for me.
I know.
Way too scary for me. I can't do it. Mr. Jones, thank you for being at level 1-0. Please, I beg of you, please maintain level 1-0 in the back. Here's why. If your behavior is amazing, best of the best in the back, that gives Mr. Adeniji a huge bargaining chip to argue on your behalf. But you get in just one fight in the back, and that gives Ms. Smith a whole bunch of ammunition to use against you. You don't want to give Ms. Smith any ammunition, do you?
No, sir.
Because you're looking at a determinate sentence. And you don't want to give her any ammunition to have you sent to TJJD and then transferred to adult prison, do you?
No, sir.
All right. So what do I need you to do? What does Mr. Adeniji need you to do?
Maintain my level.
There you go. That'll be the order of the court. Thank you, sir.
Judge, before we go,
yes, sir.
The last time Judge Kim mentioned that if he wants to waive detention hearing, he will consider if he gets to level 1 outstanding. So I just want to make sure if he continues to be level 1, we can waive the detention hearing.
That is my understanding, Mr. Adeniji.
Okay. Because I didn't know level 1 outstanding until this month. I will have asked for a waiver.
All right. Keep it up.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
Am I free to go?
Yes, sir. And thank you, Mr. Adeniji.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Are you Miss, is it Carol?
Parole.
Parole?
Yes.
Ah, okay. My name is Judge Porter. This is oh, no, this is a Form 3 hearing. Mr. Hall, you're on deck. Actually, you're not in deck. You're in the batter's box.
My mom and the father.
Great. Joel?
All right. Mr. Hall.
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Ms. Pearl, it's the court's information that you are here on runaway status from the state of New York. And so, Mr. Hall, if you want to direct the court on this.
Judge, she's wanting to contest going back to New York, so I think we need to set it for a contested hearing.
All right. Mr. Grohl, Ms. Grohl, our law does give you the opportunity to contest being transported back to the state of New York. Mr. Hall is your attorney. He has been retained to help you in that process. Now, meanwhile, while that contest is being scheduled and going on, while we're trying to get the paperwork from Albany and things like that, you'll have to stay here, okay? But we will schedule this for a contested hearing at a later date. Is there anything else that the court needs to consider at this time?
I don't believe so, Judge.
Let's see. Mr. Victorson, anything else that the court needs to consider at this time?
No, Your Honor. I know that the parents are on this hearing, and I think I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce it right, the Herkimer County DFPS, but they're not showing their video right now, are here too. So I don't know if there's anything additional that they might have for you.
I could say something? Okay. I personally, if I have any say in this, I do not think that she should go back because it is a very abusive household, and
we don't have to get into that right now. What happens in these kinds of proceedings is at the initial outset, initial hearing, the child either agrees to go back to the foreign state or disagrees. And if the child disagrees, then we don't do any, we stop where we are and we request information and paperwork from the foreign state, in this case, New York. And that takes anywhere from 10 to 14 days. So we're just going to be on a holding pattern for about that amount of time. And then after we receive that paperwork from New York, that's given to Mr. Hall, that's given to a prosecutor here at the Tarrant County DA's office, and it will be scheduled for a contested hearing at that point. All right? So is that your understanding, Mr. Hall?
It is, Your Honor.
All right. Then, Ms. Grohl, you will get to remain here, and we will reset this for a contested hearing once the paperwork comes back from Albany, New York, okay? Meanwhile, do you have Mr. Hall's contact information?
Yes.
Okay. In the family courtroom, you're Ms. Carroll's sister, is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Hall, does the sister have your contact information?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that'll be the order of the court. Thank you.
Thanks, Judge.
Just a second.
The people who are identified as Vladimir and Svetlana. Yes, ma'am. What do you wish to say?
Yes. Well, she's a half sister. She's not a sister, and she didn't see her for 11 years. You see, and basically, she just kidnapped her from our home.
We're not here to decide that right now. Okay. All right. We will reschedule this for a contested hearing.
And how long it's gonna take? 10, 15 days?
It depends on when the state of New York sends the state of Texas the necessary paperwork. All right. All right, that'll be the order of the court. Thank you, everyone. All right, we're going to take a brief.
Just wait.
Is there Puerto Rican? Puerto Rican? Yeah, my sister. Oh, we don't show anybody yet. No.
All right. Thank you, everyone. All right. I'm looking for Mr. Maloney. There he is. All right. No. Maybe not. Okay.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Yes, sir. It's my understanding that Mr. Maloney waived.
That is news to me. I saw Mr. Quinones in here earlier.
Okay.
I'm here, Your Honor.
Mr. Quinones, did Mr. Maloney waive his detention hearing?
I have not had an opportunity to speak with him. I just got on this case.
Well, that will be a no. He did not waive his detention hearing.
Did not waive it. That's correct.
Okay, Your Honor. Give us 1 minute.
All right, sounds good. All right, are you Mr. Maloney?
Yes, sir.
All right, my name is Judge Porter. This is a detention hearing to determine whether you should remain in detention or be released to a parent or guardian. You have the right to remain silent and not say anything at all. In fact, if there's something you want to say, don't just blurt it out. Instead, move your hand back and forth like this. That'll get my attention. I'll create a private internet chat room for you and your attorney to talk about what you want to say. That way he can advise you on whether or not you really should say it. Mr. Quinones is here as your attorney. Do you see Mr. Quinones on the screen? Tom, go ahead and say something.
Yes, hello, Kenyon, how you doing? I'm over here waving my hand, or was. You see me now?
Is that a yes?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, the law says when you're brought into detention, you have to see a judge within 2 business days. And then if the judge orders you detained, you have to see a judge every 10 business days or 2 calendar weeks thereafter. So we're here for your initial detention hearing today. So, Ms. Aguirre, what brings Mr. Loney to court today?
Your Honor, Kenyon was referred in custody by Fort Worth PD for the offense of criminal trespass and failure to ID. According to the police report on August 5th at 6:16 p.m., officers responded to a suicide attempt at Alameda apartment complex. They made contact with a male who identified himself as Jonathan Hinton. He stated his cousin lived in the apartment. He reported his girlfriend threatened to cut herself and fled the scene. A sweep of the apartment was conducted and officers found a female juvenile hiding inside the bathroom. She identified herself as Melody Brown. She reported she was not serious about hurting herself and stated that she was playing. Officers contacted Mel's mother and were informed that he had given a false name, and the mother identified the male as Kenyon. And mother of the female made the scene and informed that her name was Desiree Davis. The property manager reported the apartment was vacant and no one had permission to enter the residence as the doors were locked.
Right. He was administered a drug test this morning.
Yes, Your Honor.
What were those results?
Those results were positive for marijuana and negative for all other controlled substances.
All right, and he has 1 prior referral to the department that was supervisory cautioned about a year ago.
Yes, Your Honor, and that was for assault public servant back in March 2019.
All right. Ms. Smith, what are your thoughts?
Your Honor, I will defer to the court on this one.
All right. Mr. Quinones, does he have a parent or guardian here?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I was looking for them.
Ms. Aguirre, can you help us identify the parent?
Is Tasha Maloney?
Oh, there he is. She's waving her hand. Okay. All right. Mr. Quinones, do you want to ask Ms. Maloney some questions?
I can't seem to get her on my screen, Judge, but I can go ahead and ask. Ms. Maloney, this is Tom Quinones. I'm just appointed on your son's case. I need to know if Kenyon was returned to you, would you be able to supervise him or have a plan by which he could be supervised so he won't get any trouble or any problems occur?
No. Can y'all hear me? I don't know, but no.
I can hear you. I can hear you okay. Yes.
Okay, I would not be able to supervise him. If y'all release Kenyon to me, he is going to jump out the window, jump over the fence, and run back to that girl. And then they're going to get right back into some similar nonsense.
So is the issue, and not to get into the facts of the case or anything, but you're saying the issue is this girlfriend of his, is that correct?
I'm not going to blame her. It's just that they're so intent upon being together. It's almost like by any means necessary, regardless of the consequences right now.
So, are you telling us in the court that you really can't ensure that he would not only stay and be supervised, but that he would be able to return to court at the next hearing? Is that correct?
That's correct, sir, because there's no telling if he'll be with me. Kenyon sneaks out every night. He runs away when he feels like it. He don't come home. To the point where I just had to let him leave, make him leave, because I have 2 other children and I need my home to be safe.
So other than yourself, and you said your 2 other children live there with you?
Yes, sir.
And how old are they?
9 and 10.
Is there any other older child or adult that would be able to help you supervise or keep him for a while?
No, he was my help until he went crazy. But no, I don't have anybody else who would be able to watch him. And I'm concerned. I don't want him to come home because that's what's gonna happen. I'm concerned for his well-being. I'm concerned that he'll just end up right back in there, like they kicked in a vacant unit in my apartments. Like I'm concerned that I mean, he's drugs, guns. I'm concerned that he will not be safe if he's there. He's just gonna leave and something's gonna happen.
Judge, I think my client's waving his hand, so.
Mr. Maloney, do you need to talk briefly with your attorney? Okay, please make it brief. Give me just a second. I'll set that up for you two.
We're not allowed.
All right, should be open to the two of y'all. Do make it less than 60 seconds, please.
He will tell them what they need to hear because he want to come home, but he gonna get right back to the same stuff.
I'll be right back, y'all. All right, Mr. Quinones.
My client would like to return home and he would like to be on the monitor. He's saying that he's really has learned his lesson from being in there and he wants to go back home and that he will follow his mother's rules. He's willing to do electronic monitoring if necessary, if the court orders it. And he really just wants to get back home and as he says, not try to act like an adult, but be a kid like he is. And so he's willing to do that. And he's asking his mother to be able to take him back in and let him do that.
Let me check on something real quick, please. Okay. Mom, the two offenses for which Kenyon was arrested are both misdemeanors. And so in all likelihood, assuming that he really did these things, without so deciding, but assuming and because this is only a second referral to the department, he's probably looking at probation eventually, assuming this is correct. So there is going to be a point where he's going to come back to live with you. Do you understand that?
Yes, I understand.
Okay. You sound today like you're not ready for him to come home, but you heard his attorney say that Kenyon has had a change of attitude overnight. Are you willing to take a chance and believe that he has had a change of attitude and give him an opportunity to prove to you that he can behave at home?
I've given that chance several times. I don't believe him. I don't believe anything he's saying. But if y'all, I mean, I need help with him. And if y'all gonna make me take him, I mean, I don't have no choice. I would love something like a monitor if he's gonna be there so he can be, you know. But I mean, I don't believe him. I don't believe that anything he's saying. That's what he said 2 days ago too, and then he kicked in the door, or you know, he was in a vacant unit or whatever. And then a week before that, he said the same thing when he didn't come home. So I don't believe it. No.
Okay. But you understand that eventually he's probably coming back home.
Yes, I know.
Okay. Well, Mr. Maloney, one of the hard lessons in life to learn is that nothing is free. If you really want to get ahead in life, you have to earn your way there, right? So I'm going to teach you that lesson. If you want to get home, like you say you do, you're going to have to earn your way there. How do you do that, Judge Porter? Have they explained to you the behavioral levels in the back? Okay. What's the absolute best level? One what? One outstanding, correct? Okay. You get to level one outstanding. You maintain that for 5 consistent days. And then the court will authorize your release on an electronic monitor. Here's why that's important. You've got to maintain 1-0. That's perfect behavior for 5 days. And he just came in yesterday. So it's going to take him 2, maybe 3 days to get there.
Okay.
And then he's got to maintain that perfect behavior in the back for 5 days. That will show that he does know how to follow the rules. That will show that he does know how to behave. And if he can do that in the back, then, Mom, that will at least show you and me that he knows how to follow the rules when he wants to, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so if he really wants to come home, why don't we make him earn that opportunity? You on board with that?
Absolutely. Thank you.
All
so
right.
much.
Then that'll be the order of the court.
Thank you, Judge.
Judge,
Thank you.
free. Am I discharged, Judge?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Quinones. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Judge.
Yes, that's it. Like, make them want it. Earn.
All right. Waiting on Mr. Medina. Is Mr. Lofton here?
Your Honor, when I talked to Ms. Kelleher this morning, she said that she didn't believe that Mr. Lofton would be here.
All right. And thank you, Mr. Daniels.
You're welcome.
All right. Are you Mr. Medina?
No,
Yes, sir.
Is that a yes, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Medina. My name is Judge Porter. This is a detention hearing to determine if you should remain in detention or be released to a parent or guardian. You have the right to remain silent and not say anything at all. If there is something you want to say, please do not shout it out. Instead, I want you to move your hand back and forth like this. That will get my attention. It will also get your attorney's attention. And today, the court has appointed Keith Daniels to be your attorney because Mr. Lofton is in court. Do you see Mr. Daniels on the screen?
I'm here.
Okay. I'll create a private internet chat room for you and Mr. Daniels to talk about anything you might want to say. That way he can advise you on whether or not you really should say it. Our law says that anytime a child is brought into detention, they have to see a judge within 48 hours. If you are detained, then another detention hearing will be held within 10 business days. All right. Ms. Rodriguez, what brings Mr. Medina to court today?
So Eric was originally referred in custody on May 18th for UCW and evading arrest. He was released on EM on June the 3rd. And then on July 24th, he was given time out to go with his sister to church. Whenever they were going to church, their other sister told the oldest sister that Eric was in possession of a gun. So Eric's brother-in-law searched him, but no gun was found. So they ended up dropping him back off home early. Later on, sister called and said that after we had dropped off Eric, she was informed that Eric had left the house and had something to do with beating some other kid up. So we pulled up the EM map. It didn't trigger an alert because he still had the original timeout for church, but it did appear on the map that he was in the vicinity of an address down the street for 9 minutes. So we had him appear for an out of custody detention hearing. Judge Kim detained him due to the EM violation, and also Judge Kim had concerns for dad providing suitable supervision. Eric was released from detention on August 8th to his older sister and her husband back on the EM after he reached level 1 outstanding. And then on August 4th, sister called detention to report that Eric had been leaving the apartment without permission. He ended up sleeping outside of the apartments on the stairs and the apartment laundromat as well. However, Eric reports that his brother-in-law threatened him and kicked him out of the apartments, which is why he was sleeping outside. Brother-in-law is saying that Eric threatened to shoot and kill him, and he was concerned that Eric might have access to guns at dad's house. So he was brought into detention yesterday for that DTA. I did speak with a detective out of Fort Worth, and they are planning on sending us an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon case for the incident that allegedly occurred on July 24th, where Eric had time out to go to church. The detective said that Eric and his friend went over to the victim's house, that Eric pointed a gun at the victim, and that his friend hit the 16-year-old victim in the head with a hammer. Eric is denying this. And I know CPS is currently involved. They plan to interview the siblings just today to see if there are any concerns in the home. They haven't been able to speak with dad to get orders to remove. And I believe the investigator is also on Zoom, and the older sister was going to be on Zoom. Dad got assaulted on Sunday by the alleged victim in Eric's case. They assaulted dad pretty bad with a baseball bat, so he's injured. He wasn't able to be here, but stepmom is here.
Okay. The good thing is, oh wait, no. He wasn't able to provide a sample for your analysis for the last 2 days, correct?
Correct.
All right. So, Mr. Medina, when you can't provide a urine sample for 2 days in a row, then the court will just assume that you're positive for every single drug under the sun. So I'm going to assume cocaine, methamphetamine, amphetamine, benzodiazepines, marijuana, and half a dozen other things I can't even think of right now. So that gives me a reason to believe that if I were to release you today, you would be a danger to yourself or others, because I believe you were out smoking drugs or using drugs or whatever it is. Mr. Daniels, do you wish to ask, is that the mom in the parents' courtroom?
It's stepmom, Your Honor, but she doesn't actually live in the home.
Okay. Okay, well then,
Well, Your Honor, I believe that Ms. Rodriguez said that his older sister was also on Zoom. I would like to ask her a couple of questions if she's available.
I don't see her on the screen. Her name's Joanna Medina.
I'm here.
There she is. Okay.
Okay. Hi, Joanna. My name is Keith Daniels, and I'm representing Eric this morning. I just wanted to ask you, do you want Eric back in your home right now?
He doesn't want to come back. So that's the thing that me and my husband were talking about. He doesn't want to come back. And if he doesn't want to come back, I think he's going to just do the same thing.
Okay, fair enough. That was all I had, Your Honor.
let me just, Mr. Daniels, do you want to ask Eric if he wants to go home?
Yes. Eric, you've heard everything that Ms. Rodriguez said this morning. Do you want to go back home with either your sister or with your mother?
I would like to go home back with my dad because I was living good over there until I don't know what happened. But I don't like her boyfriend was threatening me and stuff like that. That's why I want to go back.
All right.
He made me sleep.
Go ahead, Mr. Daniels. Let's just not get into anything that might relate to any of the alleged offenses.
Okay. And so, does your dad, do you know if he wants you to come back home, Eric?
Yeah, he wants me to go back home.
Okay. Your Honor, I would ask that he be released on a monitor to his dad.
All right. Okay, Mr. Medina, because I believe that you would have provided a sample, would have tested positive for every drug for which the urinalysis tests, I would find that you are a danger to yourself or others if released, because I'm afraid you would just go back out and use illegal street drugs again, and therefore you will be detained. And that will be the order of the court.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. I hope nobody was planning on having lunch today. Okay. Ms. Gonzalez, thank you for laughing. A smattering of applause. All right. Austin, we meet again. All right, Austin, my name's Judge Porter. This is a detention hearing to determine if you should remain in custody or be released to a parent or guardian. You have the right to remain silent, not say anything at all. If there's something you want to say, don't shout it out. Instead, move your hand back and forth like this. That'll get my attention. It'll also get your attorney's attention. Mr. Sierra, do you see Mr. Sierra on the screen?
No.
There's Rafael.
Let me see.
Can you see me now? Hear me now?
I can't see you, but I can hear you.
All right. Well, Austin, move your hand back and forth like that. I'll create a private internet chat room for you and Mr. Sierra to talk about what you want to say. That way he can advise you on whether or not you really should say it. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Gonzalez, why is Austin back in court?
Yes, Your Honor. He was originally referred in
to our department on July the 22nd of 2020 on a DTA that was issued by our department. Judge Kim issued the DTA on July the 14th for EM removal. Youth was drug tested and he tested positive for marijuana when he was referred into our detention center. I did also want to make the court aware that he was placed on electronic monitor for 30 days after we had an administrative hearing with him. He was strapped on 7/2 and then cut it off on 7/14 when the DTA was issued. We received an out of custody referral from Bedford Police Department for unauthorized use of a vehicle. It has since been disposed of by the district attorney's office, but I can certainly go into detail if you need me to.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay.
Oh, Austin, you're killing me. You're killing me. I thought we were good, man. I thought we weren't going to see each other again. Wasn't that the deal?
Yes, sir.
You're killing me. Mr. Sierra, help me out.
Judge, well, I will say that he is a level 1. The new case that he had picked up has been rejected. And while on the 24th, he is scheduled to be placed, and we have a motion to modify on the 20th, Your Honor, I ask if you can please release him, given the fact that there is a placement in the foreseeable future. And is his mother in the courtroom?
Your Honor, his grandmother and his father were attempting to sign on via Zoom, and they just were not having any luck.
Right, so he doesn't have a parent or guardian I can release him to?
Correct.
All right.
Judge, we would request, I know the circumstances are that you'd prefer for them to be here, but my client is willing to go on an ankle monitor.
Austin, he said that with a straight face.
We've spoken before, Judge, and he wanted to get out if you were to release him.
Austin, you know, if I release you, you're gonna cut it again. Oh, please. Please, I know your history. You know I know your history. You're not gonna make it back. If I let you go on an EM, I can't do it. You know that, and you know why, right? Okay. Here's what your deal is, though. You got another hearing coming up. If you can maintain level 1-0 in the back between now and your next hearing, that puts Mr. Sierra in the best possible position to argue in your favor that you should go back home and not go to placement. But if you're in the back, you're acting a fool, you're down to level 2A or worse, level 3C, it's going to make the DA's case to send you to placement so much easier. You don't want to do that, right?
No, sir.
All right. So it's in your best interest to maintain level 1-0 in the back for me, okay?
Can I talk to my attorney real quick?
No, you can call you and Mr. Sierra can talk on the phone later, okay?
Because he was supposed to ask you something from me right now.
Mr. Sierra, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm here. Mr. Oates?
Yeah.
I can call you right now on the phone if you'd like.
All right. Remember what we was talking about on the phone? What I wanted you to ask for?
What you wanted?
Yeah.
I remember.
Oh.
I'll call you right now. Don't worry. Let the court move on to the next case, and I'll call you right now.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Oates. Thank you, Mr. Sierra.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
His lawyer's gonna call him, so that matters. His lawyers need to call him, so.
All right, are you Mr. Perry?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Perry, my name is Judge Porter. This is a detention hearing to determine if you should remain in detention or be released to a parent or guardian. The law says anytime you're brought into detention, you need to see a judge within 2 business days. And if you're ordered detained, then you have to see a judge every 10 business days thereafter. You have the right to an attorney. And Mr. Daniels is here as your attorney. Do you see Mr. Daniels on the screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. You have the right to remain silent and not say anything at all. If there is something you want to say, please do not shout it out. Instead, I want you to move your hand back and forth like this. That'll get my attention. I'll create a private internet chat room for you and Mr. Daniels to talk about what you want to say. That way he can advise you on whether or not you really should say it. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Jennings, what brings Mr. Perry back to court?
Yes, Your Honor. This is a 10-day detention hearing. Mr. Perry is currently on probation for theft of property 100 to 750. Back on May 6th, I contacted the mother as I was trying to get in touch with Mr. Perry. She advised me that he had left home the previous night and had not returned. I instructed the mother to file a runaway report. She decided she didn't want to at that time because she stated that he normally comes home daily. I then attempted to contact Mr. Perry on May 6th, May 7th, and May 8th by cell phone and text messages. On Monday, May 11th, I still had not heard from him, so we submitted a proxy report to the court requesting a directive to apprehend. On May 12th, that was issued. On June 1st, we received an out-of-custody police report from Arlington dated April 17th for the alleged offense of theft of property 100 to 750. According to that police report, 2 bicycles were stolen off of a second-floor balcony apartment in an apartment complex. When officers were there investigating, it was determined that a neighbor had a Ring camera that was facing where the bicycles were located. Officers were able to download the images of the 2 suspects and began to question juveniles that lived in the complex. Mr. Perry was identified as one of the individuals that had taken the bikes. On July 22nd, Jarrett and his mother appeared at the Juvenile Detention Center to turn himself in. He appeared before Judge Kim on June 23rd for the initial detention hearing. At that time, Judge Kim ordered that he remain in the detention center. The district attorney has filed a petition on both the violation of a court order and the new offense, and we are set to go to court on August 14th at 9:30.
All right. Miss Allen, what is going on? Help me.
Okay, Jared's, he's gotten in trouble lately. It's been worse. When they wanted me to report him as a runaway, he was coming home every day while I was at work. So I didn't want to report him because he wasn't really missing. He just wasn't there when I was there because he knew I was looking for him. Every time I called the cops to pick him up after they had requested to apprehend him, they would come and he would be gone. And a neighbor at our apartments, come to find out later, was hiding him. So they've since moved. So the trouble is out of my apartments. I really want him to come home. He's been in there before and he's had his little, I'm going to do better. I'm going to do better. But this time I really believe he's honestly wants to change and he wants to do better. He's focused on going back to school. He said he will do a monitor, which I'm okay with that if that's what it takes. I do want him to come home. His brother is a couple of years older than him and is home all day. We'll make sure that he stays home. We've removed the negative influence, obviously, from the apartment since they've been evicted. And he's real motivated to finally, get his life on track. And I know they said that he didn't take a UA the night he got picked up, and that's why a judge kept him. And he said he tried and he just couldn't, but he has since taken the UA.
Is that correct, Mr. Jennings?
Yes, Your Honor. He did test positive for marijuana.
Oh. Mom, did you know that?
I was aware, yes.
Oh, what do you think about that, Mom?
I think he's never going to do it again because he knows better and he wants to be home.
Oh, but Mom, how are we going to prevent him from staying away from the loco weed?
Well, one of them left. Like I said, they've been evicted from the apartments and have already moved. And everything else, I mean, like I said, if you have to put him on a monitor, you can put him on a monitor and he'll keep him at home. Of course, it's not going to get into anything at home. I don't feel that he needs it, but I mean, if that's what we need to do to get him home, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I just really want him to come home because I've not yet heard him this motivated to be right on track and to go to school and stuff. He's always had, he has ODD and ADHD. I mean, he's always had trouble with school, but he's never been motivated to get on track. And, you know, I've been talking to him this past 2 weeks every day. And I honestly believe he's making better choices now and trying to get right.
All right. I'm going to give you a chance because I think you've got a good mom here. Ms. Allen, I have faith in you.
I have faith in my son.
Oh, that's an even better follow-up. All right. I'm gonna let him go on the electronic monitor. A couple of things, Ms. Allen. You're responsible for making sure he gets back to court.
Yes, he comes next Friday.
Now, Mr. Perry, look at me. You are not allowed to leave your mom's place without the permission of both Ms. Allen and Mr. Jennings.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
You cannot step foot outside that apartment without both of their permissions.
Yes, sir.
All right?
Yes, sir.
And while mom's at work, I don't want people over at the apartment unless your mom pre-approves them.
Yes, sir.
Okay? I have spies everywhere. And if I find out that you've had guests over at your apartment during the day without your mom's permission, I will give Mr. Jennings a piece of paper and I'll send him out to your place.
Yes, sir.
Guess what he's going to do?
Arrest me.
He's going to bring you back to Kimbo. All right. Is it worth coming back to Kimbo for a visitor that your mom didn't approve?
No.
Good choice. All right. That's going to be the order of the court.
All right. Thank you.
Perry, don't let me down.
Yes, sir. I got you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Daniels.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mom. All right. Are you Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Guess what?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Rodriguez, this is a detention hearing to determine if you should remain in detention or be released to a parent or guardian. You have the right to an attorney. Do you see Mr. Hall, your attorney, on the screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. You have the right to remain silent, not say anything at all. If there's something you want to say, please do not shout it out. Instead, move your hand back and forth like this. That'll get my attention. I'll create a private internet chat room for you and Mr. Hall to talk about what you want to say. That way he can advise you on whether or not you really should say it. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
What brings Mr. Rodriguez back to court?
Because he got in trouble.
Well, let me talk to Karina Rodriguez real quick. Karina, what brings no relation to you, Isaac, back to court?
So he was originally brought in on March 6th for several offenses. He was released on the 31st of March on the EM, and that was successful. He's been on CBD. But then on July 8th, Hearst PD brought him in for evading arrest and possession of marijuana. And then while he was in detention, we also received a referral for theft of property, $2,500 to $30,000. But that was an old referral from back in March.
Okay.
He does have history with the department, and he did test positive when he last came in for marijuana. He completed a psych, and the recommendation is secure residential drug treatment. A bed is available for TYRC Wednesday at 9. Isaac wants to go. His mom wants him to go, and he's set for adjudication on August 21st.
All right. Isaac, if I were to release you today, you would lose your spot at TYRC. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Mom, do you want him to lose his spot at TYRC?
No, I don't.
No. Isaac, do you want to lose your spot at TYRC?
No, sir.
Good answer. So, in order to make sure that you do not lose your spot at TYRC, what do I need to do today?
Detain me.
Yes, sir. I do that because it's best for you, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. All right, that'll be the order of the court. Thank you, Mr. Hall.
So,
Thank you, Judge.
I could say something.
Yes, go ahead. Just don't talk about anything that's related to why you were brought to Kimbo in the first place.
Will my mom be taking me to the TYRC?
Ms. Rodriguez, is somebody from juvenile going to transport him? Or are we going to try and release him to mom for transport?
We were gonna try to release him to mom so that mom can take him.
All right. Now, Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes, sir.
If all that happens, are you going to cooperate with your mom during transportation to TYRC?
Yes, sir.
And are you going to cooperate with TYRC and make it work for you once you get there?
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, thank you.
That'll be the order. Thank you, sir.
All right, love you, Mom.
Thanks.
All right, do not bring in the next kid. Pursuant to Section 5408 of the Texas Family Code,